the reason why there's fucking lines in a chocolate bar so they don't break. And that was one of the biggest issues he had, was they just had a straight piece of chocolate and it was like glass and it would just snap.
Where did you learn that? The little breaks in the chocolate are to prevent it from breaking?
Yes.
Wow. You're kind of smart.
I had never been to a place called Twin Peaks before. Have you ever been?
Of course. Wait, you've never been to Twin Peaks?
I've never been to Twin Peaks.
Dude, you're like the horniest dude ever. How have you never been to Twin Peaks?
Before Matthew Stafford signed to the Rams, people were like, trade idea. We send Jared Goff to the Rams. Rams send us Matthew Stafford and 2 first-round picks.
Just swap it. Just like, I'd never really trade it back. Welcome to Real OShow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always is my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
And today we talk about MrBeast's latest interview, how we would restructure college sports, the NFL report card, and a lot more. Enjoy.
They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack that we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
People think that we have like this like super nice studio. Like, I'm not even kidding you.
Who?
Like people I work with.
Give me 3 people.
People
Name
I work
drop.
with. No, I'm not gonna name drop them because they're a client. But these people are like, dude, I saw your studio, bro. That's a nice ass studio. Where do you
It is a
at?
nice studio.
I'm like, bro,
no.
This is our living room. There's normally a TV here, guys. I fucking moved the TV for this.
Listen, it bothers me that you hate this set. I love this set. I hate that we have to take it up and put it down, but I love the set, bro. You've done a great job. You've had the wood in the back. We have the books. We got the helmet. Like, you would think Joshua reads a fucking book based on our background. This motherfucker hasn't opened a book since porn was in magazines.
And there's a lot going on here. This house has a lot of character, but that doesn't deter from the fact that if this was a permanent set, we could make it a lot cooler. And we could have a lot more of a set up here. Like, I wish we had a desk. I wish we had nicer chairs. I wish there were a lot of things that could be better.
But the story behind the chairs is kind of funny, though. We had to carry this shit on the subway, the path, walking through the World Trade Center, which, if you've ever been in New York, is like, me and Joshua like to talk as the metaverse. Everybody's going to their location for their video game. It's like where everybody meets up. You know, you're going into the Jersey metaverse, you're going to the New York metaverse. Everybody's crossing there. It's insane, and we had to carry these 2 relatively big ass chairs through. But it was a good memory.
No, it's a great memory, but with that being said, there's a reason why they gave these fucking chairs away. You know, they weren't like they were like one of the last ones there.
Because no one wanted to grind and get them home.
Yeah, but there was a lot better shit.
I'm a fucking grinder.
There was a lot better shit there before. So we could have gotten better chairs. We could have got a whole like sectional couch had we wanted to carry that bitch. We just didn't want to.
But anyways, it's been a crazy week for me and Joshua. Joshua's been in Arizona. I've just been head down grinding at work, and finally we get to talk. And a big podcast dropped with MrBeast and Steven Bartlett, who's obviously emerged as one of the best podcasters that I don't think gets talked about enough, but has MrBeast on. Joshua, did you get a chance to watch a little bit of it?
Yeah, we watched it. I mean, obviously there's been tons of clips that have gone viral from it. And I mean, Jimmy's just kind of flexing. I mean, there's a couple of clips that he was flexing a little bit.
Of course. And listen, as I told you before the show, I listened to the whole podcast. I became a big fan of Jimmy, a big fan, and especially someone who's like, this dude's going to be like a bought and sold president. The way he talks about shit, he's not in like a great personality, you could say. That motherfucker is a scientist.
Yeah, he's very smart.
When it comes to videos, he is like, this is why it should be like this. We need to make it look like this because then it'll pop. Like, everything is so detail-oriented, and we'll probably get into his brand Feastables at some point and how he thinks about it. But Joshua, I think MrBeast has just even risen up like my leaderboard of content creators.
Listen, MrBeast does incredible stuff. He does incredible numbers. What he puts up is insane, but he is like a Mark Zuckerberg style. Like, he is the brains of it. He is the scientist behind everything. He's obsessing over every little thing, and that's what makes him so good at it. But like I said, I don't think people are necessarily like, holy shit, I want to sit down and listen to Jimmy talk for 2 hours. Now,
if you're a creator,
we do, because we're in the space and it's like, I want to soak up everything that he has. But I was saying, like, as like an entertainer, like, he's just good at it because he's like, this is the science.
Yeah.
You're going to do this. I need punchy in this. We're going to do this. We're going to cut it to here. Everything has to be fast, fast, fast. We have to bring them back here. Like, everything is a science.
Adding on to his video, he had this theory, and I think we need to start to think about it more, but it made it super easy to understand of why he's become so successful. So he was talking about this theory, Joshua, where when you're driving down a road and you see a cow on the side of the road, you're like, oh, it's just a cow, drive by. You never think about it again. If you're driving down the road and you see a purple cow, you're like right away, what the fuck is that? And then 5 years later, when you're talking, you're randomly going to remember and be like, why the fuck was that purple cow there? That's how he thinks about his videos, is he wants it to be like, what the fuck is that? I've never seen that before. I need to watch it. And then you remember it. And that is really the legacy play of like, I want to go watch the video of him, being on a desert island for 100 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has some interesting stuff. Like his most recent video was him doing the Egyptian pyramids, which, a little fun fact on that, he was supposed to bring Logan Paul to that, but they banned Logan Paul from coming. So Logan Paul wasn't coming.
Which is stupid. Like,
but
why?
There was so much propaganda in that video about Egypt. They were like they had Egyptian tour guides. They were like, we built the pyramids. Like, this is us. Like, our people did it. It's like, clearly, you guys, Egyptians did not build the pyramids. Like, they were there well before them. But beside the fact, great video. But it's like, that is a 3-day thing where they're literally going through all the major pyramids in Egypt. And it's like a 20-minute video. So it's like the amount of cuts, the amount of people they have, like the camera crew. He has a process. I mean, he said that everything is like 6 months in advance. Like he's shooting stuff today that is coming out in 6 months, and he's got fucking 4 different channels, and they're all dubbed. Like I saw a thing about Jimmy the other day where it's like when you look at his videos and it says like 190 million views, that's not 190 million English views. Those are all of his MrBeast channels across all the countries. So it's like his China one, his Japan one, every language possible that you could have all goes under that one account. So when you see 190 million, that's worldwide views across all of his channels, not just English. Because I'd be like, holy fuck, dude, how does he have like 300 million views in English? Like, that's like 90% of English speakers.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. So I didn't realize that, but that's how he has those crazy views. All of his dubbed shit is all linked to the same account. So therefore it feeds it, which honestly makes sense as a platform because you want to push your best content. Hey, when I see a video, like, not even going to lie, when I see one of Jimmy's videos drop and it's got 100 million views, I'm like, fuck it. It can't be that bad. Like, you know what I mean? It can't be that bad. 100 million people watched it. It can't be that bad. And they're normally pretty good. They're a little corny sometimes, but like, it's made for kids, bro. You know what I mean?
It's definitely made for kids. And I even want to talk about the thing he really made for kids with Feastables. And throughout the podcast, he's talking about it, and they finally get to it. And, Steven asked him, if someone offered you $5 billion, would you accept it? And he's like, no. He's like, I just love building the company. It's just like making content. Like, I love building it. And even Joshua can talk about this. So early on, when the product was in Walmart, people kept buying or like seeing that the bars were broken. And so Jimmy, being Jimmy, became obsessed with that fact and put GoPros in Walmart and essentially videotaped Walmart and see what was happening. And this is how scientific he is. Because of the videos, he would see that when people would grab the chocolate bar off the shelf, it would fall, and that's why all the bars were breaking. It wasn't like there was manipulation or Hershey's was going in there to do it. But it's that level of just thinking and going about obsessing a product is 100% why MrBeast has succeeded and will continue to succeed, and honestly why I became a bigger fan.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I honestly, hearing MrBeast talked made me just want to be like, we should start a product tomorrow. Just because I was like, there's so much learning that has to come with it that I'm like, the more you do it, the earlier you figure out some of these like niches. Like, and I think the reason why Jimmy wouldn't sell, Feastables for $5 billion is because he's completely cornering a very old niche, and not just in chocolate, but with Lunchly. And those things go hand in hand together. Like, he's going to build out everything. And if he's already trying to do like, he talks about in that podcast as well about fair trade and how he wants to stop child workers, because if you eat chocolate, guys, fun fact, it was probably child labor. Fun fact for you.
Yeah.
51%, I think he said, is children. So if you eat chocolate, which we do on a daily basis, like I was thinking about it today, I was like, bro, I eat chocolate all the time. You don't even think about it. Children are doing that. So it's kind of crazy.
Just dumb American consumers.
But I don't think
we
it's
just
just
don't
American.
care. We don't care.
I think it's everyone. Clearly no one cares, because West Africa, where they're doing it, they don't give a fuck. America don't give a fuck. Europe don't. Like, who's giving a fuck?
Well, obviously West Africa wouldn't give a fuck. They're profiting off it.
Yeah, I'm just
saying. Of course,
saying.
that's driving their economy. You can't blame West Africa. They're just
A good
getting the
government
cheap
though,
work.
a good government though would be like, oh, okay, you guys want this, then you're gonna pay a premium so they can actually have employees. MrBeast said they can only give $1 a day for employees. That's why there's children workers. So basically what he's saying is they can't afford to pay adults.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. So it's like, yeah, chocolate, they're making billions of dollars a year. They have enough money to put a little extra money back into it. And I think MrBeast is doing it right. He's like obsessing over the little things. And again, that's what made him so great at YouTube. You know, he talked about like the product design and how the reason why there's fucking lines in a chocolate bar so they don't break. And that was one of the biggest issues he had was they just had a straight piece of chocolate and it was like glass and it would just snap. And, it's...
Where did you learn that? The little breaks in the chocolate are to prevent it from breaking.
Yes. It's so it helps. It's so if you ever look at like a driveway, right? Think of like
You're kind of smart. You're kind of smart, dude.
Think about pouring concrete, right?
Yeah.
They put lines in the weakest spots so it has a pressure point. When you do it with chocolate, it does the same thing. So I remember the Feastables when they first came out, it was just a flat piece of chocolate.
Like a Crunch bar.
Yeah, exactly. But now they've actually, Crunch, they must have some great product fucking packer who can keep those bars good because I don't really see them break much. So there must be something with product because
I haven't had a Crunch bar in quite a bit, but I remember when we were kids, they definitely were like that for sure.
100%. So that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you look at a Feastable bar now, they have slits in them down the middle so you can actually like break them off because originally he was just like, oh, it's just so you could like share it or whatever. But no, it actually serves the purpose of like they won't break. And that's why there's so many because it just allows it. The chances are slimmer.
How many? Have you had the Feastable bars?
I've had them once.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I never have.
Listen, to me, I'm just like...
There's still added sugar in it.
Yes.
Like, it's still not a healthy chocolate bar.
It's just chocolate. To me, I'm just like, it's just chocolate. Like, it's like when I see things like this weekend, I had the option of... They didn't have Celsius. So there was like Prime and then like Red Bull and something else. Maybe like a Monster. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a Prime because I fuck with Logan Paul. And I think that's the same thing with chocolate. It's like, they're all the same. Now, if Jimmy makes his where it's like, we're going to pay extra so there's not kids doing it. Now that's the incentive to buy Jimmy's Feastables. But for me, I'm like, if I see a Hershey's bar and I see Feastables, now I'm kind of like, I like MrBeast. I'll probably just do that one.
Yeah, but then there's someone like me who's not going to eat a chocolate bar with, 8 added grams of sugar per serving.
I agree.
I want to eat the chocolate bar that has stevia or no added sugars or very little added sugars. Like,
Listen,
it's still an unhealthy chocolate bar.
I agree. I honestly, when I'm at like a Whole Foods, I'm probably going for the healthier chocolate bar in general. So, and I think Jimmy will get there. I think they will make that market. You can see where things are going. Like, even look at like alcohol. This new generation is completely dying down. If you saw like Hooters is going out of business. Now, they have a few issues. They've had 4 CEOs in like 2 years.
Who would have thought that a bunch of wives would get together and say, "No, you're my husband. You can't go look at titties all day and eat wings."
It's really not that bad. Hey, you want to hear a funny
What do you mean? What are you trying to say? It's not that bad. It's obviously not a good scheme. Like,
Listen,
what in the right mind? Like,
I think the talent dropped at Hooters. That's
of
why
course,
it happened. The
of
talent
course.
dropped. That's
but
what happened.
What I'm trying to say is like, what actual good dude who's actually doing anything is going to a Hooters, bro?
I'm
sorry. Like, titties are cool, but like not that cool.
I want to tell you guys a funny story because this happened to me this week when I was in Arizona. So I'm in Arizona for spring training. I fly in. I get to my hotel. It's too early. I can't check in. So I drop my bags off at the hotel. I'm like, I'm hungry. I should go get some food. I look around. There's an outlet mall next to me, and then there's a restaurant. I'm like, oh, it's open. Like, let's go hit it. And I had never been to a place called Twin Peaks before. Have you ever been?
Of course. Wait, you've never been to Twin Peaks?
I've never been to Twin Peaks.
Dude, you're like the horniest dude ever. How have you never been to Twin Peaks?
I've walked into this thing. Dude, I walked into this thing, had no idea, bro. I'm like, ripped to Johnny. I'm fucking sitting there. I'm like walking in. I walk in. The guy who greets me is like the manager. So it's a dude. So I'm not even thinking. I got my headphones in. I'm like, whatever. I sit down. He hands me a menu. I'm like, look at the menu. I look up and my waitress is there, just titties out. I'm like,
and
where
ass
the
out.
I'm like, where the fuck am I at? And I like start looking around and I'm like, the trashiest girls are all around me. I'm like, where the fuck am I at right now? I had no idea, bro. I had no idea what Twin Peaks was. I was just like, I was so distraught. I was like, what the fuck am I at?
I've been to, I think, Twin Peaks once or twice. I've been to Hooters like once or twice. It's just like, I don't want to eat food there.
But this is the kicker. I'm alone. Like, you know how horny you are at 11 a.m. to be at a Twin Peaks? Like, bro, Like, you know what I mean? That was like some crazy shit. I was like, bro, I'm with some old predators, dude. There was like the table next to me, dude. I was like, Jesus, these guys got red dots at their house. Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, it's
But
insane.
listen,
but yeah,
I mean, I couldn't believe it. But like, I will say, Twin Peaks, way better food than Hooters. Way better food. I had like a grilled chicken avocado sandwich, and I was like, damn, this is way better food than Hooters. Like Hooters, you get some wings.
Bro,
that's it. Maybe some beer.
It's like people, and I hate to even talk like this. I've been to a strip club 3 times in my life, but it's like people who like eat at a strip club. Like, bro, if you can eat with that going on, you have some demons, bro.
Listen. I don't see like maybe I'm not going to the strip clubs Drake's going to, but they just have no appeal to me. I'm like, bro, these girls are just working dudes all day. Like that's not my interest. Not my interest.
The ones Drake's going to are definitely like.
Listen, the ones that Drake is going to are making $5 to $10 million a year. Swear to God, you guys think I'm joking you? Like, bro, I back in the day used to date a stripper, and her friends were making 10, 15, 20 grand in a weekend. Yeah, I'll tell you after.
Do I know?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, bro. Like throwback? Like high school?
High school. Think high school. Think crazy high school.
And
if you know me, you probably just connected the dots. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that story at a later date.
Seems up your alley, though. Joshua could date a stripper.
No, I definitely would not. Like,
do you think it was the T-Pain song when we were kids that kind of hooked you?
No.
I'm in love with a stripper.
I dated her pre-stripper. It was after that she was a stripper.
So you caused so much stress that made her turn to a stripper.
No, I think there's a syndrome called I grew up too good, and you just want to do something else. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a big problem in America is I grew up too good. My life was too good that I'm like, I should cause myself to have some adversity. I should become a stripper. You know, like I had 2 good parents who loved me so much, like stripper. You know what I mean? Like,
or drugs.
You know what I mean?
That's usually how it goes. Sometimes both.
Yeah, whatever.
Get the combination.
I can't hate it. Like in today's day and age, if you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, shaking some ass, showing some, like I can't even hate on that. Like I really can't.
It shouldn't
hate
be
on
allowed. I don't think it should be allowed.
You don't think it should be allowed?
Why? But like,
what
why?
is this? Is this a Muslim country now?
No, but like, dude, it's just like.
It's free.
There's
you
other
have
things
the
going on. There's other things going on that you could then make money.
You have a choice to do that. Like I can say, I've never paid $1 for OnlyFans. Swear to God, I would bet on my mother's life. I've never paid $1.
I don't know why people would ever pay for anything like that. It is very much free online.
It's very much free, bro. If you wanted to see someone's OnlyFans, you could probably type it in on Twitter. You could probably be like, what's the Bonnie Blue? I bet you'd be like Bonnie Blue OnlyFans. I bet that bitch got everywhere. I bet it's everywhere. I bet it's her getting fucking filled 100 times. You know what I mean? That's just real.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Hard to sidetrack that conversation.
I mean, I don't know how we got from Feastables with Jimmy all the way to Bonnie Blue getting filled 100 times. I don't know how we got there. But that's just how it gets.
That's the fun rabbit hole.
I mean, I guess.
But to get us back on track, and because we're talking about money, this is probably the only segue we could maybe get, is I think you saw Rick Pitino was on PMT, and he was talking about how he loves NIL. Big Cat was talking about how a lot of his coaches that he came up with have retired because of NIL, and he was like, I love it. And obviously he got in major trouble back at Louisville for completely paying players and doing NIL before it was legal.
Nothing crazy. A lot of people did.
He's 100%. Listen, I think the way he's thinking about it, because he talked about it as the Euro League. Every single year you have a new team, you're getting new players. He even talked about how they were actually lucky enough to keep freshmen on their team so they won't recruit a freshman this coming year. And I think just the way he's going about it, it's 100% right. And even with our brother Derek, who's at Indiana in football, you're literally buying a team every year. Like, you cannot win with freshmen in this day and age. Like, you need to buy a sophomore, junior, senior. Oh, fuck.
Excuse me.
You need to buy a sophomore, junior, senior every single year to be successful at any level in any sport.
You know, to me, I think that if I had any say in the NCAA, I would give Rick Pitino a blank check, and I'd be like, Rick, you are now the commissioner of the NCAA for football and basketball because you're the only one who understands anything, apparently. You know, I thought Nick Saban could also be probably this role as well. But
are you saying that because they illegally paid players before it was allowed?
No, I'm saying that Rick understands what's going on here. Like, he's a coach who's done professional basketball. He's coached in the NBA, EuroLeague, college. He's seen it all. And he's literally like, EuroLeague, if you have a guy for 2 years, that's like abnormal. That's like you somehow secured a guy for 2 years. You are like golden goose. And so to me, I'm like, that is college sports right now. It is a 1-2 year contract. Move on. And especially if you have a good year at a small school, it's like sayonara, buddy.
Yeah.
So Rick Pitino he is probably the GOAT. He has a new series out. I forget what it's on. Maybe it's on Amazon. Maybe it's on Netflix. I don't know. But he has a brand new series out, and he's had some viral clips from it, calling out his team as well, being like, I don't know who raised you, but like, if you miss a shot, you fucking eat it. You suck it up. Because he's like, life is hard. Bad things happen. You got to dig in even deeper. And it's real.
I love the coaches that are actually calling out players now, because you can in this day and age. Listen, if you're making $100,000 to multi-million, you are a professional athlete. You can get called out, because it doesn't matter. Everybody's getting paid and everybody's transferring. Like, okay, you don't like it here, go. I'll replace you.
I'll never forget my rookie season at the Fort Wayne Comets. These motherfuckers, our coach would say it all the time, bro, you have a bad game. He'd be like, I will replace every one of you. I will fucking trade you tomorrow. I'll cut you tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. Like, bro, this is a job. If you do not perform, you are fucking gone. It's gone. It doesn't matter. College, bro, it's high school now. Bro, high school kids are going to start getting paid now. That's just how it's a trickle down. It's just going to keep going lower and lower and lower, and that's just the way it's going to work. But now with that being said, the fun goes out of it. Now it's a big boy job.
Yeah.
Now you gotta eat some shit. Okay? And especially in college where they're not making as much as the coach. NBA a little trickier when these guys are going to make $80 million a year and the coach is going to make fucking 13. And so it's going to be a little bit different.
But that's every professional sport. That's every
Agreed.
Yeah.
But you get a guy like Dan Campbell who is so well respected that when he says shit, guys are like, yes, sir.
Yeah, but you got to build that up. You got to build that.
Exactly why I think Rick Pitino is the guy, because he's built it up over fucking 50, 60 years of coaching. And now he's one of those guys where it's like, bro, I might put a future on the boys, on St. Mary's. I might put a future on them to go to like Sweet 16 or something.
Bro, I was just thinking about March Madness is coming up. I have not watched more than 5 minutes of total college basketball game.
You know what I was saying? That's best case. You know what I think?
No, it's
last
not
year,
best case.
No, last year. Listen, last year at our work, we have 2,000 people that we work with that we all do a March Madness bracket with. I was literally in second place, or maybe top 5 for the whole entire time. I think I finished in like 11th or 12th. I did not watch a single game leading up to that. I just went blind random shit, because what you got to do is, it's in the 8s, 9s, 10s, 12s, 15s. You got to pick some upsets in that range, because if you don't, you're fucked. They happen every year. It doesn't matter. That's all you need to know.
I just can't bring myself to pick the upsets.
It doesn't matter.
I just can't do it.
What you got to know is, March Madness, you throw everything out the window. I could grab any random lady off the street who doesn't know shit, and she could pick a better bracket than us if we watched every game this year. It doesn't matter. There's no science behind it, bro. These dudes get paid however much money at ESPN and insert whatever thing to be wrong like 100% of the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do they know? They watch every game. That's even more embarrassing that fucking Jimmy at ESPN can't even fucking pick 60% right, and he's watched every game. I'm fucking over here watching TikTok, and I could fucking pick a better team, you know?
I want to take a step back. Talking about Rick Pitino, talking about how you have to replace your team every single year. Do you like that as a fan? As obviously we're close to it, but do you enjoy that? Do you think there's going to be fun to that? Or is there always going to be, especially in college football, is it going to be a new team every year that wins?
I think it will be a new team every year. I don't think you're going to see any more dynasties in college sports. Maybe if there's a coach that could really figure it out, who can like really build a system. But this is how I see college sports.
Maybe not dynasties, but there's always going to be, 5-ish teams that run the table. Of course.
There's always going to be, because they're just going to be proven, hey, you come here, you're going to compete for a national championship, then you're going to go to the next level. That's how it's always going to be. But this is how I see sports going. I think everyone is going to copy the hockey model. And what I mean by this is, in hockey, what you do is you play till, U18, U16, whatever. Then you go play junior hockey from 16 to 21 time, right? Then you go to college, or you go to, or you could have done major, junior, whatever it may have been. Then you go pro. So I think how they're going to do college for football and basketball now is, you go to high school. These high school kids aren't going to make it to the big team. Now, give or take. A couple kids will because they're so good. But outside of the top, they're going to go to JUCO, a 2-year university where they're going to spend 2 years, 2 to 3 years there. Then their eligibility for NCAA will not start. Then they're going to go into college where they will have 4 more years to go if they want, but they could also just do 2 and done. I'm telling you, that's how you're going to see the future because Rick Pitino said it.
So you think JUCOs are going to then essentially turn into like the high school?
JUCO will be the high school / I think the max, the lower end schools are going to be that JUCO feeder team. They're going to be the lower level, and then you're going to go to the big power schools. That's how it's going to work because these max schools are not going to be able to keep talent. But what they will be able to get, high school kids. Because you want to know who doesn't want high school kids? The Georgias, the fucking Alabamas. They're going to go, sorry, we got this junior from fucking Buffalo who's a psychopath, and he's proven, and we're going to take him over this little 18-year-old boy who's never left home before.
Yeah.
That's just reality.
It's a real thing.
And that's why hockey's been doing that forever. That's why when hockey, like I came in as a freshman in college as a 20-year-old.
So you don't think there's going to be any 18-year-olds playing like elite level college football? You think it's going to be a 21-year-old?
Yes, outside of those very few kids like the Alabama wide receiver,
Ryan Williams.
So it's like outside of that kid and maybe a couple other guys. Yes, those kids will make it because Ryan Williams could probably play in the NFL in a year. Like he needs to get his body right. He has to get a little thicker, but as a skill set, this guy's just a fucking dog. So, and again, same thing with hockey. You're gonna get the Connor McDavid who fucking skips the line and goes right to the NHL. It's gonna happen.
That's a good theory.
But
that's a good theory. You
crushed
that.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm telling you.
You need to make a video on that. That's it. You're right.
I truly think that's what it's gonna be like.
Well, that's even like, I hate to keep bringing up Derek and the Big Ten, but the Big Ten it's going to be one of the 2 conferences that become the big boys.
Exactly.
Did you see the
it's
schedule?
It's only going to be Big Ten SEC.
Did you see the schedule that I was like, the Big Ten and SEC, you have to play they'll have to have 2 to 4 crossover games a year. So you'll have your Big Ten games and then you'll have SEC crossover. It's just going to be like NFL. It's the NFL where you play your
AFC,
you play your
NFC.
division. Well, yeah, AFC, NFC, but you play your division twice, and then you're always crossing over with the AFC and NFC on a certain league. So you play AFC South and NFC North, and then NFC North and AFC West. Like it all gets crossed over every single year.
We talked about this a long time ago, but the Big Ten and the SEC make up over 75% of the viewers. So I hate to say to all the other conferences, but you don't matter. You just don't matter. And with that being said, the SEC and the Big Ten are eventually going to bully everyone out of it. And they're going to be like, hey, good teams are going to come to us. And like I said, the other ones are going to trickle down to what we're going to call the JUCO / 2 years / the bridge.
So you think it's going to be big boys, everybody else?
Everybody else.
You don't think there's a mid-level?
No, because here's my thing.
So where does Georgia Tech go?
Georgia Tech will be the big boys.
Big boys?
Yes.
What about Colorado?
Colorado will, if Deion's there, they could probably make it into the big boys.
So okay. Great. Let's talk about this.
So all these other teams are going to start trickling up. They're going to pick.
What about the teams that are good at the low level? Do they get a chance to bump up?
Because
Never get to bump up.
Like a JMU, for example, right? Like a JMU is going to be a JUCO. That's just what that's always what they're going to be. They're never going to be able to be a Georgia, an SEC, a Big Ten. I just don't see how they can do it unless they poured tens and 20s and 30s of millions of dollars.
Do they ever get to play the big boys?
Sure. For a tune-up game. Sure. In the middle of the season. No doubt. But it ain't going to mean nothing. Like, you know what I mean? They might do it occasionally.
But those teams are going to have no chance if you're telling me those are all 18 and 19-year-olds.
Exactly.
They're going to die.
Exactly.
They would die.
But that's why they're not going to fucking do it. Like, they might do it as a tune-up game, but that's it. Like, you know what I think about it? Because here's my thing. Team USA, for example. Like, when I was in college, we would play Team USA. And it's like, we would little brother these dudes. These guys, they're like, when we played them,
they would beat you guys.
We would. No, we would split with them, right? You got to think. They had 9 first-rounders on their team. Think about that. 9 first-rounders. You know how many first-rounders we had on our team? 0.
Zero in probably the history of the program.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they have 9. So, yeah, they're younger. And, again, these high school kids there's going to be some dogs, but they're just not going to be developed as enough. And that's what we used to do. The times we would beat Team USA is we'd manhandle these motherfuckers. You put one of the kids in the third row, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to be near that dude. You know what I mean? Like that's how
you have to beat him.
Exactly.
That's you know what? This is what I was thinking about. And I know in our last episode we talked about the 4 nations and the USA versus Canada. The reason the USA beat Canada in that game is they were physical.
Yeah.
They came out. Canada was not ready to play that game, and USA came out and was like, "We're gonna fucking beat the fuck out of them."
The biggest flaw of it though was that game though ruined those guys. Like, bro, talk to all the stars that played in the Canada-US game. Those guys are beat up. Like, bro, it's almost 2 weeks later now. Like, Connor McDavid has said, he's like, bro, I'm still not right. Like, he's like,
You think he's hurt?
It's just like, bro, I'm beat up. You've just played 6 games while everyone took a 2-week break and was in Cancun.
They played 6 games.
Yes, they played 4 or 5 games. They played 4 games, 3 round robin, 1 finals.
That's way too many. It needs to be
Way
2 games.
too many.
2 games.
2 games.
Canada versus the other team. US versus the other team. Champion play.
Yes.
Losers play.
Yes.
Done.
That's it. It's all it should have been. Like that US-Canada game should have been the championship.
I thought that's what it was. When you told me you were going to the game, I was like, what the fuck is going on? That's it.
Yeah.
You know what? You want to know what that reminded me of? That's some baseball shit.
Yeah.
That's just bad scheduling, bad idea, bad promotion. That's what the MLB does.
But now you got your best players are fucked up. It's like this is a pivotal time in the season right now. Very pivotal. Like this is when you find out who's going to make the playoffs, who's not, and you got your best players now are a little banged up going, fuck, dude, I wish I had my 2-week break in Cancun right now. Like, that's what they're all thinking.
Yeah, but 2-week break, when you come back, you're off.
Yeah, but you're
never right.
But you're not really taking the whole 2 weeks there, brother. You take the week there, you get a little warm, and then you're coming back.
Doesn't matter if you're there for 4 days and you're coming back and skating. Like, you can't simulate a game.
Yeah, but
you can't.
When you're fucked up, when you're the best players in the world and you get a little banged up and it just have that lingering thing that you can never fix. Like, that's the one thing about hockey. When you get that little hit and you get chicken winged or you just do like something random, you're getting hit the next game in that same spot. And it's just like, it just keeps fucking you up. And when you're the best player in the world, sometimes you just need to heal up and you're going to be fine. Like,
so why doesn't he just take a week off?
I mean, I'm sure he has taken some games off, but like, they need him. You know what I mean? Like it's a give and take kind of game.
In the NHL,
and stars don't sit out in the NHL. Like guys,
they don't ever take like a rest day.
Bro, maybe when they're like really fucked up, but you got to understand, dude. These guys, like hockey players, are known to play all the games. Like the stars are playing all the games unless they're seriously injured. And maybe at the very end of the season, like you'll get like the Austin Matthews when they're already like a second place team that's already locked, and they're like, Austin, we're going to sit you for the last 2 games. Like, you take some rest. They might do that at the very end just to get him healed up.
But he's never like, he's fresh and they're like, hey, man, we just don't need you today. Go sit.
Never happens.
I would do that. See, that's where I would win as a GM and coach. I'd be like, okay, they don't do that. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but it's just, you have to understand, hockey guys, they want the games. Like, rarely if you gave a guy like, hey, man, you want to sit out? Because these guys are like, no, I want to hit my fucking bonuses. I want to be an all-star. I want to be... Like, guys in hockey, I feel like, are, like, more serious about hitting that stuff.
Maybe
I'm wrong.
Maybe I didn't look much into this, but Joshua, I think, is a little bit more up to date on the NFL report cards. I don't even know where the Lions ranked. Shout out.
They ranked 9th.
They got 9th, so not bad. And then all I actually know is the New York Jets were last in the NFL, which makes complete sense.
Yeah, they were last. The Arizona Cardinals were... Maybe the Arizona Cardinals were last. I think it was like Cardinals and Jets were.
The Cardinals are always like at the bottom. But the professional football players there have to pay for their food. That is
embarrassing.
Fucking insane. Bro, there's high school programs
that
don't make the players pay for food.
That's embarrassing. Listen, every time I see these report cards, I'm just like, the fact that these are not all A's across the board, you are a bad owner. It's really just comes down to the owner, really. To me, I'm like, when I see this, I'm like, this is bad ownership. Now, you can tell the teams that had F's in the owner were the worst fucking ranked teams, and you can tell why. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool to see who they thought the best coaches in the league were, which Dan Campbell, shout out Dan Campbell, got 100%.
But that like to me is not surprising.
It didn't surprise me at all. But
there's only a reason why we took a practice squad team to win 15 games.
You think it was practice squad? We have some studs, dude. We have some offensive.
Sure.
We have some defensively, yes, but offensively, we have some studs.
Defensively, we took a team full of practice squad and free agents and won 15 games. gave up 40 points, but we were winning games.
But like Amon-Ra stud, Gibbs stud.
Yeah.
You
Our
know,
offense
Montgomery
was loaded.
stud.
Was the only dude. If we didn't have the offense, we would have won 2 games.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like all this, Ben Johnson's been coming out with all this fucking slander of Jared Goff. And you know what? I don't really appreciate it because Jared kind of got him a job. Like, had Jared fucking blew up, people wouldn't be talking about Ben very much. You know what I'm saying?
It's good.
It's
The reason he's doing it, and he might mean it a little bit, probably doesn't, but it's also Lions versus Bears, bro. That's the rivalry.
Yeah,
that's
Big
divisional.
Cat pulled on that thread, and he was just like, he didn't like make it seem that way. He was just like, oh man, like I like utmost respect for those guys, like da 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 da. But like every time he gets a chance, like he was like Penei Sewell's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. It was like
He said that?
yeah, he was like Penei Sewell,
No.
dude. He said Penei Sewell when he used to like roll out, like there was a play later when he like ran a guy over, and he was like, I should have just drew it up that way originally, but he's like, in practice he did a half a dozen times. He would roll out right, running about 15 miles an hour and just throw dimes to people. He's like, most athletic guy, like I've never seen a quarterback do that. And like basically was like throwing jabs at Jared, like Jared couldn't even do that. And
But Jared isn't that athletic. That's fair.
doesn't matter though. Like how many Super Bowl quarterbacks have been athletic? Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes in the whole history, bro. Look at all the quarterbacks. They're all white boy stiff dudes. Peyton Manning's. How many rushing yards did Tom Brady get? Was he stiff in the pocket a little bit? You know what I mean?
You're right.
So I don't know. I just thought I thought you should be a little bit more respectful to the boys that got you the job.
Listen.
Because he like when he talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was like, oh, Amon-Ra's a dog. So it was like the way you talk about Amon-Ra compared
There's definitely
to Jared.
something under the surface that he probably wanted to go like Hendon Hooker, and Dan Campbell, the owners, were like, no.
But did you see that though? There again, this is all a time where people are like always throwing rumors because it's combine time. But people were saying that the Detroit Lions were talking to Jalen Milroe, and I'm like, what, for wide receiver, running back?
No, they would draft him.
But like, why with Hendon Hooker, Jared? Like that makes no sense.
Unless
you don't think Hender's the guy.
That's bingo. But you also don't know. Jared Goff has been incredible.
Yeah,
bro, Jared. Without Jared Goff, we're still in my heart a poverty franchise, but we wouldn't even have had 2 good years and went to the playoffs.
Before Matthew Stafford signed to the Rams, people were like, yo, trade idea. We send Jared Goff to the Rams. Rams send us Matthew Stafford and 2 first-round picks.
Just swap it. Just like, never really trade it back.
Yeah, but we still get 2 picks. Oh, shit. I was like, we're trading for an old guy.
You're saying that was after it happened?
Yeah, no, like they were saying like before, because Matthew Stafford just signed back with the Rams, re-up his deal or whatever. But before, because like partially was like, where's he gonna go? Raiders, wherever. So people were like, we should trade Jared back to the Rams, and then we get Matthew, and they send 2 picks for us, like they did before when we sent Matthew.
You just get all their first round picks.
It was just it was so fucking funny. Great. I was like, that's a classic.
Well, Sean McVay doesn't like Jared Goff, so that would never happen.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, Sean McVay, and he still took you to a Super Bowl, regardless. And
then Stafford won him a Super Bowl.
But still.
And their team is much less talented now, and Stafford is still keeping them incredibly relevant.
But when they won, though, their team was better.
Loaded.
Their team was way better than what Jared had. Let's be honest ourselves. Like, you had a lot more experience, Donald. You had guys that were like guys that had been there, done that a few times. And when I don't care what anybody says, and you could see with the Eagles team this year, when you go to a Super Bowl the first time, you kind of get that shock factor, and it's like the lights are a little brighter, everything's a little bit more. And when you've done it once, the second time you go back, you kind of are like, you're ready to go.
It's why the Chiefs have dominated and the Patriots dominated. They knew what it was like to be in that moment to make the plays.
And I think that's what happened the first time the Rams were there, and then McVay did it again.
You're fucking on it today, dude. You're hot. Bro. You're hot. But I wanted to address something that happened in the New York Jets report. Is they had a dietitian that was like the best in the league, and they got the report cards last year, and the New York Jets then fired the dietitian. I'm dead serious.
Why? What did he get? He had an A?
He got an A. It was like the only thing they got an A in. So they fired him before this season, and then it was like a D, and that person went to the Chiefs and like made them so much better.
Bro, Woody is such a fucking idiot.
Talk about that. You get D's everywhere. You get A in one thing, you're like, shit, we can't have that. We need to turn that to a D. Get rid of them.
Just so much ego goes on in this shit.
For sure.
Bro, people are I just don't get it. You're making your thing better.
You would think the richest people in the world would be like the happiest and most humble. They're actually the most insecure people in the world, which is probably the reason why they got successful and got that much money. But they are literally, and me and Joshua know for a fact.
Oh yeah.
They're the most insecure people in the world.
No, it's incredibly and I've never understood, because I was saying to Zachary, I was like, if I was an owner, Zachary and I have an ambition to buy a professional team, a junior hockey team, something eventually. And I promise you, we will spend every fucking dime. We will make $0 on the team. We will make $0 on the team. We will just reinvest every penny in it, because it's like, when you do that, it is only going to pay off dividends in the long run. Look at, again, to bring this all the way back to MrBeast. MrBeast, in that same interview we were talking about earlier, has an evaluation for his companies at $5 billion. In the interview, he literally said, I don't have $1 million to my name. He literally reinvests every single dime he has into his businesses and his brands, and that's why he's such a strong figure. These NFL owners are so afraid of and again, some of these guys have been just handed the teams from their dads and mommies and whatever, so then they don't appreciate it, so they just are like, fuck it, free money for me, I'm a billionaire. And some of these guys have bought the teams, but look what the Commanders have done in 1 year. They were like, fuck, we need a new stadium, we have to revamp this to make this better. You want an owner that's actually going to give a fuck and reinvest it. Half these guys are just collecting the paychecks. They're like, I'm going to make a couple $100 M's a year and walk away.
I also think your thing about MrBeast, and I saw it in the podcast that he said that, but that's a little misleading for him not to have $1 million in his bank account, because from a financial standpoint, it's incredibly inefficient. He definitely has money he can easily get to, just maybe not in his bank, but can quickly get to it. So
got investments.
He's good. He's got money buried in the fucking ground. He's just 100%. So but it's a little misleading when he says that.
100% it is. But in that sense of he could have it in bars of gold. That's not liquid necessarily.
It might be single-handedly the most liquid thing possibly on earth. It might not be I can do it in 2 seconds.
Exactly.
But that's the flaw of the system. That's how you know it's not real. If you could, but if it's so quick, you can transfer it. It can be that quickly taken away.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I'm not saying that. And listen, Jimmy, he's gonna be all right regardless. Because
he'll be good.
He's got
even if the world ended, he'll make some video like, this is how I saved the world in 2 hours.
I don't know. But long story short, I'm glad that the Players Association does this, because it does give honest feedback. The one thing I think they're missing on this report card is they need some player testimonials. A couple of years ago, they would literally be talking shit about the owners and stuff. They'd be like, yeah, blank and blank, he's just fat, annoying, always on the thing. Some guys were saying there's ashtrays and shit in the Patriots planes and shit. Everyone when they would bitch about no Wi-Fi. So I think they need to bring back testimonials. I want to hear some quotes from these motherfuckers. I want to see what they're really saying about these guys, because at the end of the day, it's how you keep everyone honest.
Who was number one? Can't even fucking find it. This is the worst article. It's all out of fucking order.
Vikings were
second. Dolphins were first?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's because it's Miami.
That's what they were saying. The Dolphins are number one, but with that being said, you also live in Miami, so it's not.
You feel happier.
You feel happier. No fucking income tax.
Ownership got first.
Yeah, because they care, bro. They give a fuck about the guys. Who's the owner?
Steven Ross.
Steven Ross.
That dude's fucking a G.
Ross Business School, University of Michigan.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Full circle. Hey, he's a good dude. All right. Well, listen, if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Till next Friday. Peace.
Yeah, shout out Steven Ross. Peace.
I gotta stack out this gold. I tell you I'm on the road. About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on road for greatness. They paper getters. They want money more than they want fake shit.